Okay, this is a very special episode of Eating Soup Alone because our dear friend Elton DeFrance is back in town.
Hello.
And independently, we all watched the same movie. I'm going to bury the lead, though, because to start off, we usually do like a little bit of talking in the beginning, so...
Do whatever you want. I know when to come in. I'll come in when I want.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, okay.
Just give me a little bit. Don't go on too long. How's it feel to be back?
How's it feel to be back? It feels familiar and strange all at the same time. I feel like an adult in a kid's place.
As if time has passed.
Yes.
An adult in a kid's place. We won't elaborate.
Okay.
Tell me what you all think.
In our old podcast that we used to record that nobody will ever hear, our first guest, Elton DeFrance.
Well, not only that, but in the beginning, the podcast was for Elton. He moved away. And our thought process was that we would try to give him a little taste of home abroad. Mm-hmm. Not that far abroad. He was still in the States, but, you know.
It did a lot for me. It was
abroad enough.
It was lovely. And I appreciated it.
Oh, really?
Every single week. Oh, yeah. It was great.
Awesome.
I don't think I ever said that to you guys, but I loved it. It was the first thing I would listen to whenever you sent it to me.
I don't know about you,
but it's hollow because he doesn't listen to it anymore. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
this is true. I don't. I need to, though. It's on my list. I haven't even been watching movies lately.
List?
Yeah. Well, it's literally the next thing on my list. I've ran out of other podcasts.
Hey, you heard it here first. We're the bottom of the barrel.
Chris.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but if I ever got a podcast personally made for me, it would be first out of anything. Wouldn't even make my list.
I listened to every single episode that was tailor-made for me. Ever since you guys went big scale and on Spotify and Apple Music.
We big leagued you.
Yeah, I've only listened to the Dropbox episodes.
Okay, but if I'm not correct, let me know.
Yes.
But didn't he just say when we were talking about the other one, he's like, "Oh yeah, I got to listen to all of them. It's on my list."
Well, let me start here for a second. Let me just make a little side, right?
Can I speak for myself for a moment?
Okay, go ahead. Fine. God, it's so hard to
I'm poor with words. I'm poor with words.
They're sharing a mic. It's rough.
He's poor with words and a liar.
I said the wrong thing, yes, and I'm sorry. That's my bad. It's something I need to get better at, and you're right, Nick.
Okay, so something that never made it.
Yeah, no, you're fine, man.
Something that never made it to the live conversations for Elton, that's what it was referred to as, was the theme song that I came up with.
Oh, yeah.
So real quick, I'm going to give you a taste.
Hold on. Do you want to get the piano?
I can't remember the chords. Do you remember?
It's like E, E, E.
No, you're thinking of the Eating Soup Alone theme song. The original was Eat and Soup Alone.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
Eat and Soup. Sorry. But no, it was Conversations for Elton, baby.
Yeah.
Conversations for Elton, baby.
That's
Conversations for Elton, baby. Conversations for Elton.
No, he just hit us with Eating Soup Alone.
Well, I did a second ago, but we'll do round two. Eat in soup alone, eat in soup. Yeah.
Cool. It's just that short,
Yeah. And then we were blessed by our Lord and Savior, Delaney Craig. He blessed us with a nice little theme.
Thank you, Delaney.
Thank you, Delaney.
Yeah, rest in peace, Delaney.
Miss him every day.
Let's have a moment of silence. Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week. And now let's talk about fucking the third Spider-Man. The third Spider-Man.
Third Spider-Man.
Third? Oh.
Yeah, because The Amazing Spider-Man only got 2.
You're right.
Hey, guys, I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Best Spider-Man movie. Since I don't get an episode to do on it because Chris didn't want to watch those ones.
Later, dude. There'll be a fourth Spider-Man, I guarantee
no. Why would we do it before the new Spider-Man comes out when we can do it later?
Okay, all right. Ready? You ready for this, y'all?
Okay. Yes.
I'm going to control the shit out of this fucker. All right. Let's go around, round robin. I think that's what it's referred to as. and talk a little bit about our experiences with Spider-Man. I'll go first. I think I saw the first Tom Holden in theaters. Okay. Never saw it again until we watched it again the other day. Then we talked about it a little bit.
You loved it.
I loved it.
Okay.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. And then we saw the second one the other day, and I loved it.
He really loved it.
I really loved it. And then me and Nick saw it on opening night, the third one, and I loved it.
Oh, you loved it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Did you really? I'm happy to hear that. I also love the third one.
Yeah?
I'm gonna go second in the round.
Go
robin.
ahead, hit it.
I have not seen. I think I might have seen the first Tom Holland. I don't remember it at all
And
for
he's a
whatever
cutie?
reason. He is a cutie. I like Tom Holland.
As long as he was overage when that first one came out.
Don't get me started. He was 19.
Was he good? We'll
He's
say
a-
whatever we
he's
want.
a
then.
hottie
Let
then.
him fly.
Yeah. He was 19, and I think we were like 20. So,
Really? Yeah, he's like 25 now, and I'm 25.
yeah.
Whoa.
I wonder when his
Chris,
birthday was.
you're basically Spider-Man.
Hey, quick aside.
Spider-Man.
Who's the oldest between the three of us?
I'm 25.
I'm 25.
I
I'm
beat
25.
you.
We're all 25.
No.
What
Oh, no,
what month
Nick
were
is-
you all born?
Nick.
Yeah, I was born.
Yeah, January.
January?
20.
We'll cut this out. 'cause
Yeah,
I
that's
don't want
fine.
people
I
to-
don't want to dox every one of us.
22nd or 23rd?
Ooh, neither.
Really? How close am I? January
You're pretty close.
19?
20th?
Nope.
Is it the 18th?
No.
21st.
21st.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris.
I never knew, to be honest.
Elton, so I'm sorry.
And Elton, yours is the 9th.
Oh man, I'm angry about that. No,
Right?
it's November 10th.
Don't.
I'm not angry about it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I was going to say is, Elton, I'm so sorry. Chris, you're my best friend.
And-
He knew my birthday first try.
Yeah, I get it. No, that's fine.
And you've seen the second one not. You have not done that.
Of Tom Holland?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't. I didn't. What? I knew that it existed, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen a trailer. of
Gnarly
it.
move to say,
Yeah.
fuck it, I'll see the third.
I have seen the first 3 Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. All
Yeah,
3.
Sam Raimi's. Which was your
Uh-huh.
favorite?
It doesn't matter.
The third one.
The correct answer is a 1. If
I
you
liked-
listen to our podcast,
I liked them
you know
all.
that.
It's been so long. The person that I was that saw those 3
Yes.
movies is not the person that I am now. So.
Yeah.
A child.
Huh. A
That
child.
person was a child.
A child in an adult space.
The name of my memoir. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I saw the first of Andrew Garfield's,
Okay.
and I liked that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember much of it. I remember liking it.
Yeah.
I loved this new Spider-Man.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Nicholas, it's your turn.
right.
He
Also-
hates when I call him Nicholas.
Oh, I hate it. It's the worst. I'm stealing the whole mic because I got a lot to say about Spider-Man.
He's got a lot of
I'm gonna get
breathing.
very drunk.
Nicholas.
I'm gonna black out.
I hate Nicholas because the way my mom always explained it to me was Nicholas was a cute baby name. Nick is an adult man's name. So anytime anyone calls me Nicholas, I'm like, I'm not a baby.
She's got that shit backwards.
Yeah, 100%
100%
backwards.
backwards.
Yes.
What?
Nicholas is a man.
No, Nicholas is a baby.
Nicholas. I can
Nicholas.
only say it like that. I can't say it in like any other voice. Nicholas. That's it.
Oh, Nicholas.
No, what are you fucking crazy?
That's me.
Oh, Nicholas.
Okay.
That's me every morning in the mirror. I look at myself, I comb my hair back after I get out of the shower. I'm like, oh, Nicholas.
All right. Now, I can't envision a version of this podcast that doesn't go chronologically just for the sake of keeping everybody in check. There's a little, it's kind of like, you know, when people talk about there being too many cooks in the kitchen.
I didn't say my thoughts on Spider-Man, Chris.
Oh, sorry. I
thought
always
I thought you were
trample Nick.
metering his thoughts. Like you're
Yeah,
gonna
no.
have to go chronologically.
Oh, no, we've done
Yes.
100 of these
Yeah.
so far. I know where he's going. He's moving right into the plot.
Oh,
Yeah.
is he? Oh, okay.
He's like, you
I
know
need
what?
to hear
I
Nick's
don't care
thoughts.
what Nick has
Yeah.
to say about Spider-Man.
Round robin, yes.
If I know anybody who doesn't
I'm like a
know
teenage
anything
boy. I
about
don't care about
Spider-Man,
foreplay. I just want to get right to the action.
Let me put my dick in it.
yeah. He's like, if I know anybody that doesn't really care about Spider-Man, it's
Yeah.
Nick.
No, Nick loves Spider-Man, and also every time I'm editing this podcast, I feel so bad about how I just trample over.
This guy said
Oh,
he hates
shit.
webs. I just want to repeat.
Okay. To be honest, IRL, in real life, I hate webs.
Give
Doesn't
me your
anyone like
Spider-Man
webs?
rundown. Come on.
My Spider-Man rundown.
Also, hey, table talk. It's 11/11. Make a wish.
I wish this podcast was better.
So, Nick, talk about your experience with Spider-Man.
Maybe the earliest movie I can remember seeing is the first Spider-Man. Loved it. Chef's kiss. Been obsessed with it my whole life. I love Spider-Man. Chris and I just watched all of them except for the best ones recently. first few Sam Raimi movies are problematic, and boring. So they don't really hold up super well, but there's a lot that really does. Mainly the bad guys in it, except for 3. And I just love Spider-Man so much. I don't know why Chris texting really takes the wind out of my sails.
No, it does. It takes the wind out of my sails, and I'm not even talking, so.
It's fine, we'll wait.
Send your fucking message if it's so important.
Okay. Hang on one second. Yeah.
Do you know what a castle in chess is?
No, I don't.
Yes,
No?
I do.
I know you do. I was asking.
I don't know how to play chess, no.
No, not at all. Do you know what any of the pieces do? Or what all of the pieces do?
No, not even. I don't know what one of the pieces does.
No? Oh my god.
How would I know that?
Nick, why would you not?
Because I don't know how to play chess.
Have you ever seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
They play chess in Harry Potter.
Which one?
You are
the first one, yeah.
in a movie podcast.
I could talk all day about the first Harry Potter, but just not the chess scene.
Just not the chess scene, huh? Okay.
Because when they play chess in that movie, it's like I'm watching a game of football. I'm like, I can see stuff's happening.
You don't like watching football, Nick? I love watching football.
None of this is making it.
No, that's fine.
So, okay, go back to your Spider-Man thing. I'm sorry for texting a little bit. You don't remember where you were you?
First movie you've ever seen?
Taking it from the top. First movie I can remember seeing is the first Spider-Man. My dad took me. Very special memory in my life. From then, been obsessed with Spider-Man. Really like comic books, all that kind of stuff. I feel like nowadays that I'm an older man, I talk about Superman more often. But really, Spider-Man, my absolute favorite. Love him to death. First 3 movies, Chris and I rewatched them. They are problematic. 2 is problematic. 3 is just boring. So they don't really hold up that well. Chris wouldn't let me watch the best Spider-Man movies. Then we watched the Marvel ones. I've said in the other shows, the Marvel ones, a little bit too Marvel-y for me. Don't love them that much. Really like them. I think they're pretty good movies. But at the end of the day, don't really love them. This third one, Spider-Man No Way Home, I really, 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 really like a lot. It's not my favorite Spider-Man movie. I think it is an absolute mess. But I think it works because it's a mess. And it knows exactly what it's doing the whole time. And it's my favorite out of these Marvel ones.
Nice.
But overall, third favorite Spider-Man movie.
Interesting.
Okay.
I'll get more into that later.
Yeah.
Now let's take a quick break because I'm going to say...
You have another text.
Is this the money zone?
You should go ahead and say mail time now and throw this at me.
Okay, well.
So,
this episode of Eating Soup Alone is brought to you by turtles. Hey, you want a pet, but you're afraid of dropping something on them? Turtles. They got hardbacks.
And they love pizza.
Oh, they fucking... Oh.
That's all they eat.
You guys are hitting raw territory for me.
I don't know what that means. Can you do a little... Can you do like a little jingle?
About mail. It has to be about mail.
Yeah,
so say it again.
It's mail time, is what we call it.
Oh, like with words. Not with just a whistle.
It doesn't have to be words. You
okay.
can do a whistle and then go, mail time. Like last week I went, da 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 mail time.
Okay. Do you want what your friends have? Let them send you mail. It's mail time.
Mail time.
Didn't catch that? This one is coming to us directly from our loyal listener, Spider-Man Homeward Bound. That might be... Does Art Garfunkel listen to this fucker?
Is that the second movie?
Second movie's Far From Home.
Oh, so this is the first one?
No, that one's Homecoming. It's weird. None of them are called Homeward Bound.
Uh-huh.
There's no... They have 3 more coming. They could be called that. And then there could be one called No...
Next one for
Place
sure.
Like Home?
Nowhere Bound.
Next one's going to be called No Place Like Home or Finding Home. Something like that.
Finding Home? What the F does that mean?
Because he's fucking...
This is literally upside down. That's how I think about it. It's funny. Anyways... Spider-Man, 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 Spider-Man. Spider-Man No Way Home is the 3rd installment in the MCU Spider-Man series, directed by James Watts. Starring Tom Holland, the Zendaya, and that bald kid. Pause for a moment. Who the fuck is the bald kid? I don't remember there being a single bald person in this movie. Who's the bald kid?
Nobody's bald in this movie.
It's Zendaya.
Yeah, Zendaya's bald. Could they mean
it's
Ned?
not Zendaya, it's Zendaya.
Bald kid.
Yeah,
James.
I'm looking it up right now.
Are you talking about
I
Jake
think the
Gyllenhaal?
kid that plays Ned
is
bald in real life. So
why? By choice, or is it alopecia?
I don't know. I don't know him that well. Didn't ask him, but I know he wears a wig in all of these movies.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
Would have never guessed.
Yeah, no, his wig is really good.
It's
I think
a
it's
brilliant
because he
wig.
doesn't have big problem in this movie for me. Doctor Strange's wig, very obvious. Sometimes his widow peak looks painted in. Very strange.
Okay, I need to talk about the power of the dog.
Okay, here. Let me say this, just to be the king of this castle for a moment. You should have said that shit when I asked you your history with the background. This is context stuff. Give me context. Give me more context.
Why would I have talked about a different movie franchise when you asked me about one movie franchise?
Because it'd have been a zinger. It'd be funny.
No, I was waiting to bring it up, and I just did.
Hey, the bald guy's name is Jacob Batalon.
Is he actually bald? Oh my god! Oh my god, I did not expect that at all. I thought you were pulling my fucking leg. Is cussing allowed on this podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, not if we want to make money, but yeah, sure.
Okay.
Bastard.
All right, anyways, you tell me about the power of dog while I read why he's bald.
Okay, so you didn't like Benedict Cumberbatch's toupee, right?
Yeah, it's a wig. It's not a toupee.
Wig.
Why?
Disregarding the distinction. I also didn't like his wig in Power of the Dog. It was so goddamn noticeable. They didn't even bring up dogs also. Movie's a mess. And I just need to bring up, it's all I can think about, and it's all I've been able to think about, is that Kirsten Dunst, a.k.a. MJ, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, MJ, from the first Spider-Man movies. MJ has a son who is tall, lanky, has emo black hair, is named Peter. All I can think about between these two movies is how similar they are with MJ, Peter Parker, and Benedict Cumberbatch all hanging out in one universe and sometimes in front of some mountains. Oh my god.
Perhaps a look into the multiverse.
Perhaps. I
Which
hope they
this movie
continue.
has to do with.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Okay.
It's got me messed up. Continue.
Referring back to the note, bada bing, bada bam, and that bald kid, Jacob something. If his phone was still open, I'd tell you Jack. Adelon? Batalon? Jacob Batalon. Set immediately after the events of Far From Home, No Way Home begins with the world finding out that Spider-Man's secretly Peter Parker. In search of a way out, Peter seeks help from Doctor Strange, who offers to cast a spell that makes everyone forget Peter Parker as Spider-Man. Doctor Strange does the spell, and it's a success. Great success.
Cool boy.
Sick timing, Nick.
Peter graduates high school and moves to Boston, where he lands himself a job at the Boston Globe and their Spotlight team. Pete and the team begin to investigate accusations of Catholic priests in Boston molesting children. Following on from leads, interviews with victims, existing court cases, and extensive research, they reveal decades of abuse. Moreover, they discover that the issue is far wider spread than they at first believed, and that senior members of the diocese were aware of the issue, and that the church systematically covered up these crimes. Godspeed, Spider-Man. Godspeed.
Pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, but it only got an 8 out of 10.
What would you give? Oh, we'll do that at the end.
I'm just going to say it. That Catholic church, that's a real jerk. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald.
Is that a bit?
It's a Norm Macdonald thing, yeah.
Okay, table talk. Oh my god, as soon as you said Spotlight, I'm upset that I knew at Spotlight that you were going to dive into this, and ever since then I've been falling apart.
Hey, table talk. I had that idea 5 days ago.
Oh god, that's so good.
Honestly, probably the best meal time I've ever done.
Yeah, that's
I didn't
top
want to
tier.
interrupt it. Oh, I'm glad. Woo! You got to give me a sec.
Chris, at least tell us who you're texting.
Yeah.
Ooh,
First name. No. First name.
Could you imagine getting one more second finger from anybody other than Chris and not hitting them?
Oh, and yeah, not diving across the table and punching them in the head. I would do it to anybody else but Chris.
Don't know what it is about him. I love it.
Yeah, maybe because he took my old glasses, or
You have no idea how much of this is getting fucking cut, you pieces of shit.
I counted on it.
Hey, Elton, you know what I hate?
God!
You know what I absolutely hate?
This chess set.
This glass chess set. I don't know. It just sits on this table. It sits on this chair. All it does. I've never seen anyone play chess with this chess set. All I've seen happen with this chess set is it just get thrown off the table piece by piece throughout the week.
Well, I'll let you know right now that what I was looking for was a text that I thought I received, but I guess I must have been told in person where Will said...
First name. Oh, Will. Okay.
Where Will said that the male bit, he was like, the male bit? Fucked. It's just out of control. That shit's so fucking funny.
Well, now I feel bad.
So, yeah. Anyways.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Will. My biggest supporter, honestly.
Anyways,
Obviously.
so Spider-Man No Way Home. This bitch starts off... Sorry, hang on. Anyways, I don't like the word bitch. I'm just trying to stay away from the word bitch.
I love the word bitch. It's
I
so
like
good.
it. I appreciate it, Chris.
I don't know. You appreciate me staying away from it?
appreciate- yeah,
I'm trying to stay away from swearing at all.
I get you. Okay.
Here we go.
Do you not like that
No,
say
I have
bitch so much?
a massive potty mouth. I've gained a massive potty
Yeah.
mouth over the last year.
I'm trying to clean it up. You ready?
Yeah, I've noticed
but
that
I
while
appreciate you staying away from the word bitch. At least, like, I don't know, whatever.
I've noticed it a lot listening to this podcast. I'm like, ooh, just a sailor of the mouth I have.
Yeah, we're
All right.
talking to my mom a lot. Fuck, mom!
All right, ready?
In her own ears.
All right, so that mother effing Spider-Man No Way Home. Wow, what the H is going on, huh? The whole world knows he's Peter Parker?
Should we? I mean,
Talk about a record scratch moment.
We've never talked about this before, but should we be like, hey, we're gonna spoil this movie? We're gonna talk about the end.
Good God. Yeah, you're right. Okay, ready? Well, we did it that one time. Ready? On unison. 3, 2, 1.
We're going to spoil this movie. Oh.
Spoilers.
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 Anyways, so what the F?
Peter Parker has a son in this one,
That's fucked.
and he eats him like a spider.
Oh my God.
I think we watched a different movie.
It cold open. Everybody knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and then he has
Happens
to
at
swing.
the last of the end one.
Does it? See, I didn't see the second one.
Happens at the end of the last one.
Then they have to swing Zendaya out of there,
Yeah.
and then he goes home.
Yeah. He goes home,
So not that far from home,
pretty close to home.
and maybe there is a way home.
It's
They don't actually show him
And he
going
came
home.
they do. He goes into
No, they don't show his way home.
Yeah.
So, like, he goes home, yes,
Yes.
but there's no way home.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
Yes.
that's good. That's
Yes.
what it. Yes,
They are keeping up
sort
their
of the
promises.
equivalent of saying the title in the movie.
Yes.
Okay.
They allow for the title to happen.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
beautiful,
Yeah.
masterful,
Okay.
A+.
Hold on.
Next movie.
I'd like to.
We're done with this movie.
All right, everybody, that's that Mattress Man.
Hey, Chris, who's editing this? We're done.
Thanks to Delaney Craig for our theme song. And once again, this episode is brought to you by
If you
Turtles.
need more soup.
Yeah, now that you mention it, immediately, as soon as anything starts happening in this movie, Doctor Strange goes, yeah, here's a way home. And the big MacGuffin of this movie is a box that is the way home. That was a good joke observation, Nick. Good job.
So anyways, he is trying not to tell Happy and his Aunt May, and
They open the door, think they're having sex. Just the beefiest little boy I've ever seen, Tom Holland.
because the thing is that he's not a little boy. In real life, he's 25.
And he's so beefy.
Would probably, honestly, hey, if I was a cop and I saw him hanging around a high school, I'd be like, sorry, sir.
Yeah.
What's
Let me see
going
some
on
ID.
here?
Yeah, what are you
Yeah.
doing here?
Right?
Yeah, we watched Homecoming a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's shirtless in that for a minute. I'm like, ooh, look at this just shredded little boy who looks like a shredded little boy. And this one, oh, just a beefy man. Just a tall stack of waffles.
Anyways, long story short, they find out what's
Divots.
going on. Happy lets him live at their apartment, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then,
What happens right before that?
bro, you just saw the movie. You tell me.
He meets with a lawyer.
Oh, he meets with a very famous lawyer.
Elton.
Can you please explain to me who Happy is? I don't remember.
Oh my good God. Time for a MCU crash course. Hey,
MCU crash course.
hey, I'm John Green, and welcome to Crash Course.
Hey, I'm Hank Green. Welcome to Crash Course.
I think they both host it all the time.
Yes, they do. Anyways, in Iron Man, Jon Favreau is established as Iron Man's best friend. And then in Iron Man 2, he's there. And Iron Man 3, he's there. And the Avengers is there. Take it from here because those are the only ones I've seen.
Spider-Man Homecoming, he's there. Spider-Man Far From Home, he's there. Also, he directed Iron Man 1.
And you know what he is? He's the
okay,
head
yeah.
of security for Stark Industries, I believe. But they're like best friends, and he's a little goofy.
And
it's his job.
from
to
what
look
I
after
understand, he's been hanging out with
Aunt May.
Spider-Man's aunt. Yes.
Yeah, they're dating. They have like a little
Yes.
thing going on.
But she broke up with him
Okay.
because it was a fling.
Understood.
He's very sad.
Thank you.
Understandable.
Okay, so now what happens?
They find out and they get interrogated by cops.
The
I
FBI.
guess. The
Used
FBI.
by the cops.
Yes, they
Guy from
grill him.
Yeah,
they do
they
bad
were-
cop, good cop, but there's only one cop. What
It's
the
insane.
fuck?
Yeah. They better be paying that dude double.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
He's
hey,
Joe Kenda.
He's Joe Kenda. I started listening to Joe Kenda's book the other day.
Yeah.
It's not as good as just listen to him talk.
Yes.
It's very strange. Anyway,
It's getting cut.
Nick, you bitch.
Watch the potty mouth.
anyway,
Demerits.
Demerits, yeah. I'll put a coin in the jar.
Yeah, right on my forehead. Every swear word I say.
They meet with a lawyer
Named Matt Murdock.
who is
Never watched that
J.K.
show.
Simmons?
Wrong.
the lawyer, Matt Murdock,
Played by Ben Affleck.
bald
Not
guy,
in this movie.
bald guy,
In another
blind
movie.
guy, played by Charlie Cox in this movie.
Oh, he is Daredevil from the Netflix series?
Netflix original.
Did you
Marvel's
I
Daredevil.
didn't watch, but Jeff told me, and I've seen the original Daredevil movie. I liked it when I was a
Fantastic,
kid,
yeah.
and I'm a little upset that it's not Ben Affleck in this movie.
I often talk about how much I don't love the MCU, but I also love it. But a lot of it I think is weird and strange and cringy. Daredevil TV show, best thing they ever done. It's very good. I highly recommend both of you watch it.
I'll check it out. My daddy loves it.
He really does.
He does it.
He
He
calls me
does.
sometimes. Tells me about it.
Anyways, Matt Murdock is
I'm
good.
not done.
Oh, god damn. Okay, go ahead.
For a very long time, Marvel was like, yeah, the Netflix stuff's not canon. We're just getting rid of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interviews before this movie came out where Andrew Garfield's like, oh, I'm not in this movie. Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Which gives me great pleasure to hear because he's all like, I don't want to play Spider-Man into my 30s. And I'm like, there better be more. I like Ned and MJ and Tom Holland too much.
Andrew Garfield's the older Spider-Man.
Oh, was I wrong? Was I talking about the wrong Spider-Man?
Yeah, you're talking about Tom Holland.
Oh, F. We're going to cut that too.
Okay.
So there's a lot of interviews where Andrew Garfield's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm not in this movie at all. And there's interviews with Charlie Cox. She's like, I want to be Daredevil. Please let me be Daredevil again. But the whole time he was in this movie. So he showed up and I was like, Chris, that's Daredevil. Wow. Chris leaned over to me and went, yeah, I know.
Anyway, so that happens. He's like, hey, kid, don't worry. You beat the charges.
Elton.
Oh, I just wanted to add that they really buried the lead with this one. My buddy who I went and saw this with just kept on saying like, oh, we don't think that all three, like we, the collective we who all understands the Spider-Man lore,
The
don't,
proverbial.
yeah, doesn't think that there will be 3 Spider-Men in this movie, but there could be. We don't know, you know. Like all the forums that I go on don't say that there are going to be 3 Spider-Men, but there could be, and I was really happy to hear that. You know, I like burying the lead for movies. I think it's a good way to preview a movie.
Couldn't disagree less, Elton. Or more, Elton.
Oh shit.
Couldn't disagree more with you, Elton. So much. As someone who just casually uses the internet, and like my For You pages are a lot of comic book stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've seen so much stuff about all 3 of these Spider-Men being in this movie since like fucking February. It's wild. Lots of shit's been leaking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of pictures of Andrew Garfield in his Spider-Man costume against a blue screen got leaked, and he was in a bunch of interviews. He's like, no, I'm not in this movie. I'm not in this movie. And then someone put out a video. They're like, hey, here's how I deep faked this. And then everyone's like, no, that's fake. And a bunch of like visual effects people are like, no, your video is fake. This is definitely a real video. And then apparently someone like met Tobey Maguire in a park somewhere. And they're like, are you in the new Spider-Man? He's like, oh, I'm definitely in that shit. And then like a bunch of pictures of it got leaked. So did not bury the lead is what I'm saying.
Okay, well, congrats to Jeff for bearing the lead for my sake. Anyways.
What a good friend.
What a good friend.
I wish my friends on the internet would have done that for me. I was telling Chris on Wednesday, day before we saw this movie, I opened up YouTube on my PlayStation, went and got some coffee, came back to the TV, and just Spider-Man was just playing, just in the little preview. I was like, cool, the end of the Spider-Man movie. And then before we recorded the podcast, a few days before that, I was looking at my phone, and a different part of the ending was just playing on my recommended feed. So this movie got ruined for me a lot.
I'm sorry, Nick.
I saw Daredevil was in it. I saw Aunt May died. It was all very upsetting.
And then Daredevil leaves, and what happens next? What happens next?
They move into Happy's place.
They moved in Happy's place, and it's dope.
It is.
Yeah. Then?
And then Aunt May dies in his lobby?
All right, you know what? Let's scrap it. Let's not go chronological. Let's just start talking about it.
Okay, and then Willem Dafoe
And then
makes a stellar performance.
He does.
As the Green Goblin.
And you know what I
honestly,
love?
Willem Dafoe at every moment kills this movie.
He does.
I fucking
just like
loved
he killed
him.
Aunt May. It was crazy.
Yeah,
when that shit happened, I cried.
We already mentioned the
cried.
spoilers, so I'm fine with saying this. I don't
Yeah.
know why you're worried about jumping around. You said this is going to be, what, a 3-minute podcast? So I'm trying to hit the major points.
Major. He's wearing a hood this time. It looks
He's
great. I
wearing a
love
hood
that they
this
put
time.
him in
It's
that
great.
hoodie, and then it's just like in the comics.
No, I hated the hood.
Okay.
Yeah?
I'm very upset that he smashed his mask. Why did he do that?
There's
no goddamn reason.
It's my biggest complaint with this movie. The mask is so
The
fucking
mask is
good.
integral to the Green Goblin. Why did they get rid of it?
Because
So early on.
Because in Spider-Man 1, when he's wearing the mask, it's like, oh, that's a weird spooky face, but also you look a little bit like a Power Ranger. And then when he takes it off and he's just making that face with his Willem Dafoe face, incredible. But when he's just making the Willem Dafoe face all the time in this movie, I'm like, goofy. Anyway,
I liked it.
Okay.
they go to Happy's apartment and then he starts opening college acceptance letters.
Does he really?
Yeah, they're like, you didn't
Doesn't get
any of
in.
them."
Oh, yes. Okay, so he does not get in because the court of public opinion has deemed Spider-Man a villain. And not only that, but all of his accomplices are also villains. His accomplices, best friend and girlfriend, they all do not get into MIT because they know Peter Parker. Peter Parker has this brilliant idea that I should talk to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is all like, I know magic. I know beautiful, beautiful magic. I can make everybody...
Did you say everybody? Like in the club getting tipsy?
Then Medea goes to jail.
And then Chris goes to jail. Good night. Happy New Year.
So Spider-Man goes to Doctor Strange and goes, hey, can you fix this? And Doctor Strange goes, I know magic. And he goes, I can do a...
I know magic.
Oh, you give it a try.
Okay.
Yeah, you had a plot point. Tell me what happens with Doctor Strange real quick. Go ahead. Roll.
What happens with Doctor Strange is that he casts one spell. But then Tom Holland decides to interrupt him, right?
You gotta start the...
Oh, okay, I see, I see.
Him going to see... Say,
Yeah,
start
yeah.
your sentence with... So he goes to see Doctor Strange.
So Tom, Spider-Man, decides to
Thomas.
go see Thomas. Decides to go see Jesus.
Benedict
Doctor
Cumberbatch.
Strange.
His Lord and
Benedict
Savior,
Cumberbatch.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. Gives him a visit. Decides to underhandedly, I would say, ask Doctor Strange to perform a spell to make everybody forget that he is Spider-Man. And then proceeds to ask Doctor Strange if he could alter this spell, which he complies to. He says, yeah, that's fine. Alters it 5 times, and then on the 6th time, he's like, oh man, this got really overwhelming. And then the spell goes out of hand.
Why wouldn't they talk about the parameters before they start doing this?
That's what I'm saying.
Kind of cocky and arrogant on Doctor Strange's part.
Kind of cocky and arrogant, and I think ultimately comes back towards the end of the movie and undermines the whole movie and is like, oh, he's making this spell again at the end, and all of a sudden he can't add in these parameters to like fit Spider-Man's new needs. It's really weird. We'll get there, but I'm very annoyed at that
I understand
point.
what you mean.
Yes.
Because in general, right from the rip, how about this? I magically wish with all of my magic powers that everybody would forget that Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Wow.
But, to be fair, there's no movie there.
You're a genie's worst enemy.
Bro.
Because this is exactly that. It's a monkey's paw movie. Mm-hmm. They wish for the wrong shit. Because they didn't think their shit through. And Doctor Strange should, because he's smart as shit. Sorry.
He's not the Grand Wizard. I don't think I can say that. That's cut that.
That's cut. Yeah. That's getting cut big time.
You know, we'll cut it. Hold on.
Yeah.
He's not the Grand Wizard.
That's getting cut too. Sorry. Start over.
That's
What's the point you're trying to make?
And doubled.
Yeah, that's getting fucking chopped and screwed.
Yeah.
Well, we're having a laugh break. I can't get out from. Can you just go grab me a chisel marker real quick?
If you draw during this one, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah? Oh, I'm paying attention. I'm just trying to keep my mind sharp.
I can hear it every time I'm editing.
There's just a bunch on the table.
You can hear you drawing in every podcast.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Elton, forget the marker. Just come sit down.
No, I already grabbed them.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
But I figured out how to turn up the gain. Hold on. Let me see if I can hear this. Oh, so loud. Yeah. Okay.
It's okay. Anyways, you were just saying about the... Okay, so anyways. All right. So Peter Parker, he just decides, hey, I'm going to riff while you do this bit. And yeah, Doctor Strange is like, that's not how this goes, champ. You know, that's just not how this goes.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is going, and after I finish this, and Peter goes, yes, and he's like, everyone will forget. Yeah, yes, and.
Yeah. Anyways, and then it F's up real bad. It's real effed. He says like, hey, oh God, and too bad that pleading your case to MIT didn't work because we had to do this shit. And then Tom Holland is like, plead my case to MIT? And Doctor Strange goes, you didn't call them?
Like a dumb child.
And then he says, sometimes because we fought big space aliens in space, I forget that you're a child. I cannot believe you did not try to contact MIT and plead your case before coming to me and making a serious magic wish.
That happens too much in these new Spider-Man movies. I don't like it.
Really?
So much of the plot always hangs on, oh, you're just a kid.
I love it, actually. I like that it's a character flaw that he has, which is just that he's 16 or 17, and he's inexperienced, and he always jumps the gun because he overthinks.
Yeah.
He's so smart, but just like a child, he gets so fucking wrapped up that he skips the first thing, the thing that's right in front of your face. And it happened, as someone who is a neurotic, happened to me a million times.
Yeah, but you know, I loved it in Homecoming.
Yeah.
Liked it a little bit in Far From Home.
Yeah.
Now, I'm tired of it. Move on.
That's fair.
Give me something else.
See, I appreciate that mindset, but in the moment, it just makes me think of Simple Plans, I'm just a kid.
And life is a nightmare.
Yeah, and life is a nightmare. It's not fair, really. Nobody cares.
Remember
So
Tony
anyways-
Hawk was in that music video?
Yes, I used to listen to that album and play Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 on repeat with the cruise ship. I can think of Darth Maul nose blunt sliding, the awning on the cruise ship. Anytime I hear the song,
Yeah.
I'm just a kid. It's all that comes to mind.
Yeah, okay, but you're thinking of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. The last Pro Skater was 4, and then it was Underground, and also Simple Plan wasn't in it.
I don't think
No, I know. I would listen to the album separately.
What?
On top of... I don't like
That's just-
video
you're just
game music
playing-
sometimes.
You're playing Tony Hawk wrong. That's what's happening.
Anyways, this is getting cut, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think your feeble minds understand just exactly how Mega Mind cut this shit's getting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good.
41 minutes.
41 fucking minutes?
Are
We are
getting
like
cut, yeah.
10 minutes into this
Yeah,
shit.
dude, this editing's going to take a whole day.
Yeah, this episode's going to be...
It's a double
guys,
wide.
Spoilers. This episode's going to be 2.5 hours long, and we're not publishing it anywhere. It's going to be absolutely unusable.
But edit it anyway.
Okay,
Continue.
get ready. All right, okay.
Yes.
We're going to blaze through some shit,
I'm
right?
going to wake up for work in 6 hours.
All right, let's wrap it up. Okay, so all of the bad guys who have ever been in a Spider-Man movie ever get drawn to this universe because they know Peter Parker. Simultaneously, Peter Parker is trying to save, well, not initially, but he's trying to meet with the lady who does admissions at MIT, and she's all like, yeah, you and your friends are not getting in. And then he saves her from an octopus doctor.
Because that's what he does.
Spider-Man literally does this.
Octopus Man comes in and goes, "Where's my machine?
And he goes, I don't even know who you are.
Power of the sun in the
Anyways.
palm of my hand."
Yes, he beats him.
Hey, I need to try to wrap it up, but don't say anyways over what I'm saying. How rude.
Sun in the
He's
power...
right. He's right.
Rude.
He's right.
Sun in the palm of his hands. That's just like Iron Man's heart.
Yes, and?
That's a nice moment later.
You would have been a nice moment now if you went, "Sorry, Nick."
I'm sorry, Nick.
Thank you.
Anyways, so yeah, he traps the Dr. Octopus, and the Dr. Octopus then in
How
wrestling...
does he trap Dr. Octopus, Chris?
With, like, Doctor Strange magic.
Nanomachines. The nanomachines get over his arms, and then he's
Yeah.
like, I can control the nanomachines.
And then he brings him to Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange magics
no,
him into
no,
a box.
No, yes.
Continue.
Doctor Strange magics him into a box. Right, answer Green Goblin shows
And then he
up.
gives
Okay,
him, like,
next.
a Wonder Woman bracelet.
Uh-huh.
He does.
Anyways.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And then what happens? He's like, hey, you gotta go round up your rogues gallery, buddy.
And he goes, "Cool, I got green goo on my suit, so I'm going to flip it inside out so we can sell them toys."
And also Mary Jane and... Sorry. Michelle Jones. And then Michelle Jones and Peter Parker, very cute. Reminds me a lot of what you've had to say about The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Every time they're talking, I'm not necessarily like, whoa, this is hard, I shouldn't be watching this. But I'm just like, wow, they really love each other.
Just so cute.
So cute. Anyways, so yeah, Ned and MJ, they try to help out. There's a funny little thing where Ned's like, whoa, look at this laundry detergent. This dungeon rules. That's cute. Whatever. I like Ned's a lot. And then, so he goes out and he's all like, oh, there's a goblin guy around. But goblin guy goes to his aunt and is like, hey, I'm homeless. Help me out. And also, I think first Spider-Man goes and he fights like Electro, and he fights Sandman. Here's a couple things real quick I'm going to say that I like. I like a lot that like the whole like actually bringing them to this universe seems to like alter them a little bit in terms of their appearance. Like,
How so?
Well, for example, Alfred Molina don't look nothing like he did in the second Spider-Man. Ooh. And also, Sandman never really takes a human form until he's cured, which is a little way that he's altered. And also, Electro says the electricity feels different here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when he showed up, yeah, he was blue, and then he turned into old Jimmy Fox. I got a fun fact for you.
Sure, go ahead.
Sandman?
Yes.
And the Lizard.
Yes. Oh, I forgot the Lizard here,
Yeah.
but he's also very funny. He's there. He
I
did
don't
good
like
comedy.
that they only show his eyes. Because, like, that just feels like a weird, cheap, like, cinema trick. I don't like that they, like, only light up his eyes, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just, like, a weird, like, thing that they keep on doing.
Imagine... But anyways, never mind.
Alfred Molina and Norman...
Say it again.
Alfred Molina. It's Molina.
Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe both have, like, de-aging CGI on them, so they look younger, like they look in Spider-Man
Straight up, did
1 and
not
2.
notice. That's
yeah,
insane.
same. But then I saw current day both of them, and I was like, oh no, yeah, they're very old now.
It's the
I will
first thing I
say-
noticed with Willem Dafoe. Oh yeah, I thought that they were gonna make him look exactly as old as.
Yes.
That's what I was expecting, and so I was like.
You know what's
moving into the
bananas?
punch.
Much like that, the way that I can relate to that is you look so much more tan and you look so pale and like you're on your deathbed.
Fuck you.
Kidding.
I don't even know this.
Anyway, they have de-aging, and then Sandman and the Lizard. I don't know if you've noticed this, Chris, because we just watched it, but at the end of this movie, when he cures Sandman and he turns back into Human Man, that's reused footage from Spider-Man 3. And when Lizard turns back into a human, it's reused footage from The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Did not notice.
Because they're like, hey, honestly, it would cost less to make you out of sand than it would to de-age you. So you're just going to be sand the whole time. You're just going to be a lizard the whole time.
Interesting.
Wild.
It is. But
How fucked up
honestly,
would that be, though? If someone was like, you're so old, it'd be easier for us to make it look like you're made out of
I'd
sand.
probably go home and cry a little bit.
I just had this conversation with my mom the other day.
Yeah.
Please continue. I just wanted to add that in. Yeah.
Mom,
about
you'd be a lot
about how
more-
cheap CGI is. Oh my God, she was blown away.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Uh huh.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
So anyways, long story short, The craziest thing happens to me, but it also feeds right into your big complaint with this movie, it seems like, is that, like a child, Tom Holland listens to his aunt being a hippie and is like, yeah, you know what? I can save these people, even though Doctor Strange has explained to me, and also I have a science brain that understands that the multiverse means that there's an infinite amount of people, and if I spent all of my time trying to save every single Green Goblin from every single universe, this would be a huge waste of time, so why do I care about these 6 people who are from other times, and I should just send them back to their timelines, but instead my aunt has said this thing about how it's my responsibility to save people, so I'm going to save these 5 or 6 people?
Because, Chris, with great power comes great responsibility.
Hey, that's fresh. I never heard that before.
Because he's Spider-Man, Chris.
Yeah.
No matter what,
Yeah.
he has to try and help. It is
So you like
his
that part?
Yes, Chris,
You like
because
that part a
that is
lot?
what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man.
I thought that part was a little crazy. I'm
It
not
also-
gonna lie. I'm
it
still on
picks-
Doctor Strange's part where he's like, Doc, there are so many multiverses. You should just worry about what's going on here.
Yeah, but what's going on here, Chris, is 5 people that he can help. And if he doesn't, then why does he help anybody? Yeah, so what? There's a bunch of other these guys in the multiverse. But they need help, and they're here right now.
Okay,
And
so
they're here, and Peter has his power, so he has the responsibility to help them, Chris.
okay, so we've already we've mentioned that they get plucked from time
Yes.
towards like now time,
we haven't
right?
talked about space.
No, okay, so
they get plucked from then time.
from then time and then brought however many years was the
Now.
distance from then to now to now. So they're like aged 7 years to now. You know, like let's just say that that's how Green Goblin got here. You know, he came from what 2006 to 2021 is what the movie is. So it's not 7 years. 2002. God damn.
And the Marvel Universe is in the future because everyone got blipped for 5 years.
Oh, also,
and so
yeah,
they
5
skipped
years in the future.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so it's like
So it's like
it's like
2027.
25 years
Yeah.
that the Green Goblin is brought forward essentially, and so he's supposed to look 25 years older, right?
No, they de-aged him. He's
No,
supposed
no,
to
no.
look like 2002 him.
But he still looks older.
Yeah,
He doesn't look the same age. I know but like you can't fool my eyes. You know, the suspension of disbelief tells me that he at least looks older, and so since he looks older, he looks 25 years older. You know, he doesn't just look however many years older. You know what I mean? So since this person is brought from the past, from the point at which they died, is what's mentioned in the plot, right? They are about to die, and then they get brought here to this future. Does that mean that the Spider-Men that killed them or led them to their death, maybe not directly killed them, but indirectly killed them, does that mean that they are not causing their death when they go back? Because it is heavily implied throughout the whole movie that once they go back, they will be murdered, right? Like, oh, you are brought from your timeline as soon as you are about to die, and then you're going to get put back in right at that moment, and then you're about to die.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like they don't ever mention anything else from that. I feel like they kind of imply that they are going to go back to die, but you're going to go back to die as a cured person as opposed to a non-cured person. Right?
Okay.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I think
but
that'd be.
think about it. I'm sorry, Chris.
I was just gonna say that's a fair sort of plot hole
Yeah.
in a sense. Like, okay, so then for example, Electro was ripped right as he was like, I'm drawing all this power, and then I came here.
Yes. Exactly what I was thinking.
Another one that reminds me of that just a little bit, not to get off topic, but my dad brought this up when I was talking about plot holes, because I was kind of like, hey, you know what, there's some plot holes, but I'm not that bothered by plot holes if it makes for a good story overall. If you have to jump the logic a little bit here and there, like the example I gave at the time was I'm a big fan of the Frankenstein trilogy that happened in the 30s into the early 40s. And between those films, there are huge continuity leaps because continuity wasn't really a thing. A movie came out in 1931. You saw it. There's no home video.
You forgot about it?
You forgot
Yeah.
about it. Movie comes out in 1933. People who wrote it forgot about it. So they write some shit that doesn't really line up. Anyways, still great movies. But one of the things that he brought up was so the whole idea is that people are getting brought here that know who Peter Parker is, right? Because they're looking for Peter Parker or whatever,
Sure.
right? Is that fair enough to say?
No, that's fair.
Is that fair enough to say?
The spell.
But real quick, what I want to say is the plot hole is that my dad was like, okay, well, in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Electro doesn't find out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So why would he be brought here?
Interesting.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Hot damn.
that one's a great point.
That kind of sucks because they kind of even like bring that up.
Yeah, they really
You know,
do. They really do.
indirectly they like don't bring people who don't know who Spider-Man is,
Yeah.
like in the most technical ways. Because I thought that like some people like. Why is James Franco not in this movie? He should know who Spider-Man is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He got
Green
canceled?
Goblin's son.
Has he
you
got
know,
canceled?
I guess.
It's because he got canceled.
Sure, but like still, he should. But that's what I'm
Chris,
saying. He should
Why
know who
isn't Topher
Spider-Man
Grace
is.
in the movie?
Cancel?
They had the other Venom.
Oh, right. Yeah, because, yes. Spoilers, the after credits is the other Venom.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's a great point.
I saw it.
About Jamie Foxx, because they even make the joke. He's like, I thought you'd be black, because he doesn't know who Spider-Man, who Peter Parker is.
Wow, they do say that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that part, though,
Hot
because I
damn.
love that Andrew Garfield apologizes. And he's like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, you see what I got here in my hands? Mm-hmm. It's a big old shovel that I'm going to use to fill in your plot holes, though.
Okay.
Let's say Tobey Maguire, 2002, Spider-Man 1, fighting the Green Goblin. Green Goblin fades away in this big, bright, orange-white light that we see at the end of this movie. Spider-Man goes, what the hell? And then he comes back and he's like, oh, Peter, you won't believe what just happened. And he explains the plot of this movie to him.
And he says,
got
Peter,
cured.
Peter, listen to this.
Dr. Octopus comes back, does the white light stuff, and goes, oh, Peter, you won't believe what just happened. Let me throw this far into the ocean, this big sun machine. The lizard vanishes and comes back and goes, oh, fuck, Peter, I'm already human. You don't gotta try and cure me. Now this guy won't die. Electro comes back and goes, oh, I ain't electric no more. Save Spider-Man 2 a lot of problems. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 a lot of problems.
So does this mean that they phase out at different times in their original universe? I mean, I guess that they would, right? Because they're called forth to the other universe at different times.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. Which is weird.
Which
Why
is
would that
weird.
happen?
So, like, the lizard leaves, comes back as a human, and then maybe 2 minutes later or something, you know, I don't know what happens in the... Andrew Garfield is pulled forward and brought back and is now fully understanding of the lizards.
Yeah, because hang
so,
on
like,
a
there's
second.
this
Let's
weird
talk about
liminal
this.
space where
Oh.
they're where one of them has been forward in time and the other one hasn't.
Or are they both taken from the same moment? Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right,
So
right.
this makes me think of two things, right? One, which is that they always say, hey, don't fuck with time travel. But I'm not saying that I'm mad about it. I'm just saying, two, this is quite possibly the nerdiest fucking movie I've ever seen in my fucking
Yeah,
life.
oh
This
yeah,
is
this
nerdy
is
as
a
shit.
nerdy
Oh, bro,
discussion.
I tried-
This is a fully nerdy discussion.
I'm gonna get so nerdy in 2 seconds when you're done talking.
And I'm willing to, I want to hear it.
I tried to describe this to my friend the other day at a music show, at a concert. And afterwards he went, you sound like you're talking about friends that you know. Friends that you have.
Oh,
All right,
Okay.
hit it, G.
so Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
They do time travel. They talk about it. It's a type of time travel that you go back in time, you do some shit, you come back to your time, doesn't matter. What you do in your past cannot affect your present, because if your present doesn't exist, then you won't exist.
Okay. So that's a new tangent.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
You create a new tangent by going back. I
So
get that.
what I think happens is they cure these villains, send them back, where they're going back to different timelines.
So here, okay, if you're accepting that, then fuck everything you said a second ago about Spider-Man helping people or whatever.
He's helping these people. They go back, they start a new timeline. There's still 5 people that Peter Parker tried his best to help. That's the point. Doesn't matter where
And
they're from, Chris. Chris, it doesn't matter where somebody's from or the color of their skin. If you can help them, Chris, you help them, you racist.
You know who else tried to do that? Roddy Piper. He painted half his body in blackface and wrestled at WrestleMania.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can show you pictures.
Rowdy.
How does that relate?
Because he said, because I want to be a champion for everybody, no matter what color they are.
Because there's also a wrestling podcast attached to this movie podcast. All right, fellas, welcome
Top 5
to...
WWE World Champions of all
We've
time.
got a second podcast coming out. It's all wrestling.
My brother Donald thought the Ultimate Warrior was the same person as Bret Hart.
Millennials on Podcasting. You can catch Mop every Tuesday.
I don't know how TikTok works.
Hey, did you know the Ultimate Warrior? Huge fucking racist.
And also homophobic.
And also homophobic.
And dead.
Good riddance.
Now let's hang on for a second. Let's go back to when we were talking about Spider-Man.
So, do not remember where we left off.
You were saying I'm about to get nerdy on this shit.
You were filling up plot holes about the
Time travel.
Endgame. Was it Endgame?
Yes, Endgame, time travel.
and time travel.
And
Time travel. I told you how
ultimate,
time
yes,
travel works.
yeah. I think you finished your thing up,
And
right?
Chris went, well, if it's not
yes.
there, villains, who cares?
And you were upset, yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Chris doesn't understand Spider-Man.
Comics.
You're right.
No, it's not comic. It's just
right, all
basic
right.
story.
So let's get back to the
character
story.
motivation, stuff like that.
You sent me an article. I read it.
So he decides to help them.
Well, it's just interesting. Okay? Because you know what? I'm unbothered by the thing where he's a child, but then I am bothered by the thing with the whole, like, why is he saving these people? But then conversely, you're bothered about the opposite, right?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I'm on Chris's side.
And
to
both
be
of
fair.
them.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I like what you're saying, Nick, but I'm on Chris's side. I am bothered by why he helps all these people because it doesn't make very much
let's
sense
pound it
for even a
across the
moment. Oh my god, I made the worst noise.
Anyways, whatever.
I've never been more disappointed in two people at the same time.
Okay.
get that.
Well,
Well, I'm
let's
gonna
just.
steal
This is
sticker.
not even me being a meanie. You're a big comic nerd. We're normal people.
It's not even a comics thing. It's just a being a good person thing.
Yeah, but like,
Okay.
he also has the context of fighting aliens and saving the universe.
And also,
so,
he's super smart. When Jake Gyllenhaal brings up the multiverse in the first one, or the second one, he busts a nut because he's a big nerd. And then in the second one, when Doctor Strange explains the multiverse to him, he busts a nut. And then he goes, you know what, Aunt May? You dumb, smoke-potting, fucking hippie bullshitter. You're right. I should save these two people who literally are like 5 of an infinite number that my mind could never wrap around in terms of how many different just Green Goblins there are. There's an infinite amount of Green Goblins, but you know what? You're right, pot-smoking Aunt May.
continue.
You're right,
I
I
agree.
saved this Green Goblin.
Yeah, I just don't get, like, he understands the vastness of the universe, but doesn't fucking draw the line at, like, rehabilitation of like, he's got an understanding of what is inherently evil. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Okay, but absolute bottom of my heart, fuck you and fuck you. Listen, he is Spider-Man. He is Spider-Man. He fights crime in New York City.
Yeah, not the multiverse.
Shut
Just
your
the
mouth.
city.
Shut your mouth. He fights.
He even mentions going to another city and it being not so dangerous there. It's one city he fights in.
He fights crime in New York City. Let's say Spider-Man swings by, sees somebody get mugged. Is he gonna go, thousands of people are getting mugged. Thousands of people are getting mugged right now. I could go somewhere else, stop a big crime. No, somebody's getting mugged right here, right now. He has to help them. It is his responsibility to help these people. If there are 5 people that he knows that are in front of him that are going to die if something happens, he has to do everything in his power to help them, because Spider-Man is a good person and you two, giant piles of dog shit.
Okay, I would like to posit, and this can totally be table talk, that this level of vigilante justice, which is helping people who are getting mugged, helping people who are about to die, as you just mentioned, on the scale of what we are talking about of people coming from other timelines and other universes, on that scale, this is so small compared to that, and then again compared to the scale of fighting aliens who are trying to destroy half of the universe. That, compared to this scale, is much more comparable than, like, small crime that is vigilante justice.
Nick, I have to stop you before you say he's Spider-Man one more time. I just want to say for a second, you persuaded me a little bit.
Because you're right. You're right. He should stop and do vigilante justice.
Yes.
I agree that he
Yeah.
should be doing these things.
But-
and that saving every person who is getting their purse stolen is right. However, on this scale of every Green Goblin that is probably going to be evil in every timeline, because
it's
that
not
is what
comparable
Green
to
Goblin
one.
is.
Yes,
Green
but-
Goblin is not a good person. Green Goblin is a villain. That
Yeah.
is what Green Goblin is. Green Goblin compared to the entire scope of what Tom Holland Spider-Man is supposed to understand.
Nick wants to say, but he's Spider-Man so bad.
I get it! Continue, Chris.
No, it's okay. What I really want to say for a second is, and then the villains decide, we don't need no curing, and they get out of there. And then Spider-Man is very sad because Aunt May got murdered. And I cried a little bit.
I
cried a little bit in the movie theater.
Let me get the absolute last word into this, and then we can move on with this.
If I can guess what the last three words...
Shut up! I want to hear what the last word is. Continue.
I can guess what the last three are.
No.
I can literally guess.
Oh, no, the last word is going to be man, Chris. You're absolutely right.
The hyphen I'm going to count as one word, and I'm going to say the last three words are going to be, but he's Spider-Man.
Is Spider-Man one word?
I'm counting the hyphen as one word.
Okay.
You're... What?
That doesn't count as a rant. Anyways. So,
No.
Continue.
Because...
This is getting good.
Chris, I'm so
off
sorry.
The rails. Nick, off the rails.
First three words.
You're off the rails.
I
don't even know what a comp is. Continue,
I don't
Nick.
think anything's ever been more on the rails than me telling you guys how Spider-Man and heroes work.
Hey, look at me. Look at me.
Shut
Continue,
It was
Nick.
beautiful, and I loved it.
I want to hear it.
It was beautiful.
I want to hear it. Shut up, Chris.
You're like, oh no, there's way more Green Goblins. It's exactly what I was saying. Oh no, there's way more muggers. I could be shutting down drug cartels. No. There's muggers here right now.
Can I say something that actually moves us to a better place?
One Green Goblin here out of millions and millions and millions.
But Spider-Man can't affect the other Green Goblins. He can affect the other muggers. He is in the physical space of the other muggers, so he can attack every single mugger that exists in this universe. He cannot attack every Green Goblin that is in every other timeline and every other universe.
I can stop the recording if you want, Chris, though, but he can stop one mugger at a time. He can't stop all the muggers.
Oh, but on average, he can stop every mugger. He could go along and continue.
New York is a
he
huge
could keep
city.
continuing and stop every mugger. Over time, he could stop every mugger.
Warning. Nerd at capacity. We are over nerding.
You're right.
We are
Continue.
nerding at capacity. Over nerding.
Most of what I said can get cut. I already said this, Chris. Please go on.
So listen to this bullshit, right? Okay, so you're all about the whole like, whoa, he's a child or whatever,
This
right?
is bullshit. I'm not listening.
No, come on, sit back down.
I'm sorry, Nick.
My main point being that he's a child, right? In the first one, he wants to fight, honestly, in space. But Iron Man tells him, no, be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. In the second one, what's that?
They didn't go to space yet.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he wants something on that scale.
Okay, fine.
And then between that movie and the second one, he does go to space. He gets what he wants. But to talk about story arcs and stuff like that, it's not everything he thought it would be. And in the second one, he wants to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But they try to make him fight something that's almost on the scale of like space or something like this could end the world, right? I guess in the third one, how would you sum that one up? It seems like... I don't know how I'd describe the third one. Help me out a little bit, Nick. Is it...
He doesn't want to be a hero.
Because
that kind of hinders his...
Sorry, yes, okay. So in the third one, he kind of gets talked into it by Aunt May, into taking on something on the space scale, because in a sense, he really shouldn't be worried about what the multiverse is doing, but he gets talked into wanting to help them out, right?
Yeah.
And it's very profound, because she's all like, she gives him the great power, great responsibility, yada, yada, yada. And that's all well and good. At the end of the day, I'm fine with it. You know what? You know why? Because he's Spider-Man, guys.
Amen.
Yes. To quote my very smart friend Nick, who makes the podcast. Okay? So anyways, to speed through this just a little bit, Ned is like, oh, my grandma or my mom says that I'm a little magic. Turns out he is a little magic. He says, hey, I'd like to see Peter Parker right now. And then he ends up inviting both of the old Spider-Men into the world. Guess what? They're funny. They're really funny. I like them. They're charming. They're great. I like them a lot. And they get very nice moments where they get to complete their arcs. Like, example, Andrew Garfield, he didn't save Gwen Stacy, he gets to save Michelle Jones. Example, Tobey Maguire, he revenge kills a guy kind of, it's like kind of like manslaughter, but he gets to save Tom Holland from revenge killing.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
those are nice things. What else? There's also little callbacks, right? There's that little thing where he's like, hey, I'm Dr. Octopus, and hey, Mr. Peter Parker, how you doing? And he's like, oh, guess what? I'm trying to do better. Courtesy of Nick, I didn't get it either ways. I thought it was a reference to how problematic and creepy he was in the other movies. Whatever. What are you gonna do? What
Hey,
are you gonna do?
Just so you know, in case you haven't seen the old Spider-Mans in a while, he's very problematic and he's very creepy.
Yes,
Who's
he
that?
is.
Regular Spider-Man?
Yeah,
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
OG Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
he's-
geez. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, Mary Jane. Oh, I just took 3 buses and a train to get over here, to where you get off of work at this time of day that I happen to know, so I could bump into you.
Yeah, are we talking about the guy who hides his identity? He's essentially a private eye without the license? Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
He doesn't do a lot.
Acts like a private eye without the license?
Yeah, doesn't do a lot. Just kind of follows a girl and bumps into the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but we've
I-
talked about those movies.
Mm-hmm.
I really like not so much Tobey Maguire, but Andrew Garfield. We get like a little bit of like resolution for him and what he's got going on, and he's like, "Yeah, Gwen Stacy died, and I just been an angry Spider-Man for a while." He says later, like, "Yeah, kind of don't have time for Peter Parker stuff." I like that. Didn't get a third Amazing Spider-Man. Kind of get it.
But
get a little,
the fans want it, from what I heard.
Yes, I really do, Chris. You're right. Also, I love. Not love. No, I love it. It makes me laugh very hard when the other Spider-Man come in. I love Andrew Garfield. He's very funny. I'm like, yeah, the best Spider-Man. Him hanging from the ceiling,
Cleaning the web.
jumping up and clapping there. And she's like,
How is this not enough?
this is definitely enough. Yeah, exactly. But I love when Tobey Maguire comes in. Like, Andrew Garfield gets this cool entrance. He jumps in, he's Spider-Man, he rips off his mask. And then Tobey Maguire comes in and he's just like, oh, hi, guys.
I'm in a jacket.
I love that bit too when
Yeah.
he's like, all right, cool, are you going to dress like a cool youth pastor while we do this? Or
There's so many great little sort of, I guess, like, I don't know how to describe this movie other than it was really handled with care and tastefully done. That's something me and Elton were agreeing upon, that there are so many things like the introduction of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Hey, guess what? They didn't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess what?
I think honestly the thing I was most worried about was
That they'd fuck
the
it
three
up.
of them on stage or on screen at the same time in their uniforms and
Yeah.
like how they would handle the interaction of 3 Spider-Men.
And you know
but they
what?
handled it. It was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
Was the 3
Yeah.
of them interacting together.
And
they handled
also-
it so well.
On top of it, I love when Tom Holland's like, wait, I know how to work with a team. I've worked with the Avengers. I was in the Avengers. And then they're like, yeah, that's awesome. Is that a band? Are you in a
Yeah.
band? What is that? Is
It's
it
very good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You know, I think this movie overall, like I said earlier, is kind of messy. All the magic stuff, it doesn't really work in my opinion. It's just like, okay, yeah, sure, fine. We can,
Yeah.
if this will get us to plot.
I'll
part
convince
B.
you real quick.
Yeah.
What's our favorite movie?
What is our favorite movie?
It's Back to the Future.
Our-
How's a
that your
DeLorean a
favorite
time
movie?
Hey,
machine?
Chris, you got me.
Yeah, how's a DeLorean
Is
a
that your
time
favorite
machine?
movie?
Yes.
Interesting.
It's
Bump me over the table.
Bump you over the table. It's arguably the best movie
The
ever
best
made.
movie ever made.
I've never seen it.
Ooh, you
Yeah.
Guess what we're
idiot.
doing tonight, champ?
That's fine. I'm fine
You're
with
watching
that.
Back
I need
to
to
the
get
Future.
more drunk. We're gonna walk to the liquor store.
It was closed.
Yeah, you're right.
I got a whole beer there. You
All
can
right,
drink.
good. Thanks.
I think all the magic stuff is pretty messy. I don't think it works perfectly well. But
I'd
when
agree with you enough.
the other 2 Spider-Man show up, doesn't matter. I'm
Yeah.
smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
All of them just interacting with each other. It's great. They have these conversations that you want to have.
Yeah.
And like, a big problem I have with this movie. Hold on, I'm gonna read a tweet I saw the other day that I think is pretty appropriate.
Well, in the meantime, I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Oh, you can just wait a second.
I'm going to talk about how I think that sometimes leaps in logic or plot holes are fine, absolutely fine, if you create a compelling piece of art at the end of the day.
Sure.
And you know what? Those plot holes or leaps in logic that they decided to go ahead with and whatnot worked at the end of the day because this movie, I think, ended up better for them.
Yeah, to reiterate the same point, I think that Nick fills in all of my plot holes very well with the word
Thank you.
messy. You know, messy fills in
Yeah.
every single one of the plot holes.
Sure.
Because, like, it's just, like you said, just overly nerding for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I
Fun
found-
thing to argue about.
Read your tweet.
Found my tweet. It's from Lance St. Laurent. on
Shout
Twitter.
out Lance St. Lawrence.
Shout out. It tells you everything you need to know about contemporary Hollywood, that both Disney and Warner Brothers looked at the success of Spider-Verse and decided America has multiverse fever and not. People respond to an aesthetically audacious, self-contained story. I absolutely agree with that. I think a lot of Marvel stuff kind of irks me the wrong way. I like it, but also at the same time, I'm like, eh. But I think what they do the best is kind of just really fan surfacey stuff, which I think most of the time sucks, but I think Marvel is really, really good at. all these Spider-Man talking, all the wrap-ups you get, all that stuff, I think is great.
Yeah.
It absolutely makes this movie, and so the rest of it is messy, and that this whole thing is 2.5 fucking hours long.
Didn't even notice. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't notice either.
I
wear a watch to the movies on purpose, to be honest.
It's that long. There's so much stuff in it. It is really bloated, and like the structural story of the whole thing, I think, is a little loose. Doesn't matter for me.
Yeah.
I get to see Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland talking about being Spider-Man, and it's pretty well written.
Yeah.
And it makes me laugh most of the time.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it reminds me of, hey, guess what? Shoot me.
Just Shoot Me?
Just Shoot Me. No, it doesn't
The
remind me
TV
of that.
show?
No, that's not what I
I
meant.
loved Just Shoot Me as a kid.
Justified. You talking about Justified?
Ugh.
Comptroll. You're getting comptrolled.
What is a comp?
Bro, I don't even know.
It's
Computer?
The controller is how you spell controller in situations like this.
Oh.
It's pronounced controller.
It's not. Continue.
It is.
Reminds me a lot of The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
In the sense that, guess what? It was written by a guy who's nerdy as shit and also smart and also clever and also funny. And he was like, hey, you know what? It's going to piss a lot of people off. But guess what? I'm going to write a weird little fucking nerd fest where I'm like, I get all like, does God exist? With the way that like biblical scholars might get with the Bible. Like, hey, what does this shit mean? But instead, he's being that level of nerdy about the Star Wars universe.
I don't know if we ever will.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about this more. I know me and you have very similar, very extreme opinions about The Last Jedi.
Yes, and I'll state it right here real quick. I'm going to say that it's the second best Star Wars I've ever seen.
Absolutely, Chris.
Maybe the third, because I might have to put, like, there's two that might have to go before it, and they go back to back, so wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I think what you mean.
Yeah,
I
this
think
sucks.
1 and 2, and then probably The Last Jedi.
Yeah, this sucks, because this means we're going to have to do all the Star Wars movies, and
Yeah.
we're going to have the same opinions, and we're going to make a lot of people mad, but
Yeah.
we're right. So.
Yeah. But also, God, I'm going to have to be really quick and we can cut this out, but like I feel like also The Last Jedi gets to be the third best Star Wars movie because of how much Star Wars there is.
Yeah.
You know
And
what
that's
I mean?
my-
So
my-
it's not one of those things where I'm like, you can just not do with all the others. You kind of got to sit through all the stuff that's weird
Yeah.
to get to the good stuff.
That's what I like about this movie, too. Like The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So much Star Wars. Somebody who gets Star Wars, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, let's do something with it. That's what I like the most about this movie. The other two the Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man movies, I'm like, a little bit too
Yeah.
MCU-y for me. This
Yeah.
one is the most Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
So let's talk about the ending real
Couldn't
quick.
agree with you more, Nick.
But the two arguably worst Spider-Man stories in the world are like the Clone Saga, where there's a lot of Spider-Man, and like I think it's called One Last Day, where he makes a deal with the devil, so everybody forgets that Peter Parker's Spider-Man. Those suck, and they took the both of those, put it in this movie, and I'm like, fuck, I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, great. Thumbs up. Guess what? We're going to talk about the ending now. The ending, right? Is that a brap? As in you don't like it?
I was just gonna start going blah 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 like and music, and then I was like, I probably shouldn't be going blah blah blah.
Like
blah,
Call of
blah.
Duty. You've played Call of Duty, right?
I shouldn't be making Call of Duty noises while Chris is talking. So Chris, I'm sorry. Go on.
So to talk about the ending real quick. Okay. As we've established before, the whole idea of wishing that everybody forgets who Peter Parker is, fucking batshit insane, the stupidest shit I've ever heard of. But again, my previous point about plot holes, leaps in logic, is that does it create a compelling piece of art? And at the end of the day, them wishing for that in that moment, that stressful moment where they're like, oh my god, the fucking universe is falling apart. What are we gonna do? What the H? What the H are we gonna do? And they're like, well, I know. We'll just make this dumbass, stupid-ass, fucking dumbass wish. But guess what? At the end, there's that point where he gets that little shitty apartment, and he's like, his landlord's like, hey, rent's due at the end of the month or whatever. And he's like, closes the door, and it gets quiet. And for a moment, on screen, what I see is the exact thing that I feel for about an hour or two every night before I go to bed. I feel like everybody in the world might as well have forgotten who Chris Crumley is, and I'm lonely. And guess what? They put an existential nightmare on the screen, and I thought, wowee, if that doesn't say something about the human experience. And at the end of the day, you know what? This movie gets an A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Great
agree.
job. You really wrapped it up. You really knocked it out of the park right there.
Is that not Aunt May's place?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
Yeah,
When
no,
I
no.
first seen it, that's what I thought. Okay, cool.
let's, for a moment then, again, you're right. I did wrap it up very well. But there's also 2 other people in this podcast. Let's round robin for a moment. Give me your little wrap-up bit. How'd you feel about the end? How do you feel about the movie overall?
Movie overall, A as well, to be honest. Perfect rating, A out of 10.
Killer. Stellar.
I think that the ending is not how I would have ended it, and I know that we all have our feelings about movies. This isn't how I would have ended it. This is how I feel about this movie. But the choice to end it and call back to the feeling of being able to tell Zendaya about, and his other friends, about him being Spider-Man, and he gets to make his own suit and gets to tell his friends. He even mentions earlier in the movie, the week that only you guys knew was the best week of my life, because all of my favorite people knew about this, and that was it. It was nice. I think it was a good thing to call back to, and a good leaping off point for another trilogy that you said that they were going to make, Chris. I think you mentioned that to me, which I didn't know. Mm-hmm. To go backwards in the round robin.
I'm going to make one point. I don't know if it's going to stay or not, so you guys can be the judge. I'm going to make one point. Him talking specifically about that, the whole idea of like when only you guys knew and then everybody found out and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Is it fair to say that there's a little connection there perhaps with like coming out?
Could be.
Feels a little coming out-ish. I don't know. I'm a straight man, so I don't know. Sure. But in that moment, that's a bit of... In that moment, I felt a little empathy for that. It made me think of that. That brought that to mind.
Interesting. I did not think of that.
Whatever.
But I like...
Here's something else I want to bring up. I'm going to do this part as if we didn't include that, so that's fine. Mm-hmm. To piggyback off of what you're saying about telling his friends and yada, 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 there's that moment, which I'm going to look to you, our resident nerd, and there's that moment where he's face to face with MJ. He's got that piece of paper in his hand where he's presented with, he's looking at this thing, and it's I'm Peter Parker, and Doctor Strange, I was Spider-Man, you knew, and we were in love, and we kissed, and yada yada yada. That's what he has in that paper, right? He wants to tell her because he promised to both Ned and to MJ, like, hey, don't worry, I'll find you and I'll tell you what the fuck happened, right? Yeah. And wow, let's just take a moment to say Zendaya and Ned, they cry just as good as Tom Holland, and it's such a fucking moving moment when they're like, no, we don't want that. No, do not cast that spell with Doctor Strange right now.
And she says, tell me that you love me. But when I've forgotten it, she does say that but like as a and it's forgotten thing, like as a pre-wiped person.
Yeah, and it's the sweetest bit.
Yes,
it's my favorite part because she goes, no, I'd like to remember the first time you tell me you love me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
correct. Yeah. You're absolutely
Ripped my heart out.
Yes.
Ripped it out.
So I will say also, there's this nice moment in my mind, my canon. I don't know if everybody else felt this way or not. Elton told me that he did not necessarily agree, but like there's that moment where he's looking into Zendaya's eyes. He's looking at his paper. And as far as I'm concerned, without saying it, mentally, I as a Spider-Man viewer think he decides not to for the same reason Spider-Man never tells anybody. Because he doesn't want to put her in danger.
Yeah. No, it's really good at the end when he's talking to her. And you can see he's got these big doe eyes, and he's looking at her, and she's like kind of nervous around him because she likes him too. And she moves, like brushes.
Do you think she's nervous?
A little bit.
She really.
You think she's creeped out?
To me, she doesn't seem. She seems like a person at work.
Okay.
To be honest with you, she just seems like a person.
Hey,
at work.
you know what? Maybe we're being a little too 1960s Spider-Man
no,
right now.
and like that's just my perspective on it. Continue.
Okay, yeah, no, I could be being a little bit too 1960s Spider-Man about it,
and that's fine.
But.
Yeah, it's getting cut big time.
That's getting cut big time. It
showed
showed up on both mics.
As red, it came up red.
Yeah.
No, I had to cut literally 4 burps out of our last episode.
That's so funny.
Never done that before. Never cut 1 burp out.
It's never been 4.
Yeah, I'm just over the laptop like, oh, Jesus Christ.
God damn it, this is a record.
Nick's like, what's going on? I'm like, oh my God, there's 4 burps. There's never been 4 burps before.
I'm like, I just got paid. We're on a level 4. But I might be being a bit too 60s Spider-Man about it. But I think when they're talking in the cafe or donut shop at the end, they start getting a little flirty with each other. Not so much flirty, but both
so.
like, yeah, they both definitely like each other.
Yeah.
She gets a little nervous and she brushes her hair behind her ear. and he sees her Band-Aid, and he brings something up about that, and that's the bit where he's like, "Oh, I did hurt her though," and so both of them, with him, her, and Ned, he makes the decision to just move on with it.
I'd agree.
You think that's it? I think the decision is in. Because she asks him to say, again, as I've already stated, I love you when they meet each other next. And I feel like the decision is that, like, oh, Tom Holland understands that this is kind of a weird thing to say to just a stranger. What she perceives him as a stranger, he can't just go around and say, oh, I love you. I think it's the understanding that he needs to build back up towards that spot. And like you said, she wants to remember the first time that he says, I love you. And I think that he understands that as well.
Yeah.
It's wrap-up time, baby.
Wrap-up time thoughts about this, I guess. I'll get into some other stuff because I got some more things to say.
Well, it can be part of your wrap-up. So say my wrap-up thing again.
My wrap-up thing? Well,
again.
Go.
Again. I think this movie, objectively, is very messy. And when I was thinking about it at first, I was probably going to give it like a 7 out of 10. But us talking about it more, you're right. It is very Back to the Future. It is like, hey, we're going to introduce this concept to you, but it's a little much and it doesn't work super well. But just like Back to the Future, what they do with that afterwards is pretty good. So all the spell stuff, even though it's, really convenient for the story and stuff like that, where it goes afterwards with him and where it leaves him at the end, I really like.
Word up.
So after all that, I'd probably give it like an 8.
That's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But as somebody who has said a couple times on this podcast, probably more than a couple.
Oh, he's giving it a 7 for sure.
I love Spider-Man because he's Spider-Man.
The last word is man.
The last word is -man. I've grown up with Spider-Man movies. There's been a phase of Spider-Man movies for every phase that there has been of my life. And the way this movie celebrates those other specifically movies,
Yes.
I love. Like I said, when Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire show up, I'm smiling ear to ear from here till the end. Where they're all just hanging out, talking, being Spider-Man, like after when they find him on the roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a sweet moment.
I love the conversation they have right before it, where they're like, "Oh yeah, he'll find a place where he can just be alone and get away from all this."
And they each mention their
thing. Toby goes, "Top of the Chrysler Building," and Andrew goes, "Top of the Empire State Building, better view." And Tobey Maguire, the older, more seasoned Spider-Man, not looking for an argument, goes, "It's a pretty sweet view." And it's like, oh, nice.
Such a mature way to handle that.
Such a mature way to handle it.
And you know what? It takes... God, I don't want to sound... It takes such a...
It takes a Toby.
It takes a love of the source material and also a real-life maturity to just handle this the way it was handled, I think. I really can't gush enough. I feel like I'm gushing... It reminds me a lot of, like, when we were... this part's going to probably end up getting cut, but, like, when we were talking about the Scream stuff, even in the last episode, I was like, oh, let's talk about Spider-Man 3, and you were like, which one are we going to talk about longer? And I was like, let's start with The Witch. Same thing with this. Like, I'm going to gush about this more than we gushed about The Godfather.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, it takes such a love of, like, the source material and also, like, a maturity to, like, not fuck all this up, and that's a great example. That's such a small moment where, like, a more mature Spider-Man would go, you know what? Yeah, that is a sweet view.
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to reiterate that, like, I think that even as a person who doesn't know every Spider-Man like you guys do, just gushing...
Don't lump me in with this nerd.
Just gushing over... gushing over this moment and just how sweet, handling this interaction is. Really just makes me feel wonderful.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's how this movie made me feel. It made me feel wonderful.
You don't need to have the full background to understand. You just need to know that these are two old Spider-Men. And, like, even with that knowledge, you can know that, like, this is such a good scene and just...
Yeah, and what a fun
such
movie.
A well-handled scene, like you said.
What a fun movie.
What a fun movie, overall.
Let me take it just, like, one step further for that example. Older Spider-Man doesn't want to have the argument. That's a pretty sweet view. Slightly younger Spider-Man is like, I gotta one-up you. And then they go to the youngest Spider-Man. Where's his favorite place to sit?
On top of his high school.
Fucking high school. Yeah. It's so good.
Oh.
Yeah.
And let's talk about this. Tobey Maguire?
Tubby.
Old as fuck.
Tobey?
Tubby.
His shit come out his wrist.
Shit come out his wrist.
How you do that?
And they keep asking him. And it's also
okay, but
funny.
how do you do that?
And it's funny when Andrew's all like, "Yo, bro, I had to make this in a lab. You tell me your shit come out a wrist?
Yeah.
Your shit come out your wrist?
You just, like, make that shit in your ass and put it out your wrist? That's what he says, almost verbatim, I think.
I love when they're like, how does that work? And he's like, literally, do you think I've asked a doctor before? Do you think I know how this works?
They heavily imply the ass thing. I need to double down on this.
He's like...
Do you make this in your ass and put it into your wrists? Because I don't get it, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland both say.
Brain can't wrap around.
Yeah. Tobey Maguire's like, yeah, it's like, I just do it. I don't do breathing. And then
That's a great explanation.
Tom Holland...
That is a great explanation.
And then Tom Holland was like, yeah, but... You cum webs? Basically, that's what he says.
Cum or
I will
ass?
say...
Is it cum or ass? Because I don't get it either way.
I will say real quick... I will say, I do appreciate that this is the second Spider-Man that I've seen that I haven't been just utterly repulsed by. For various reasons. Various reasons. I will give you an example if you think it's so giggly. In the last one, there's a point where he's wearing this suit that's been made for him by, like, S.H.I.E.L.D., by, like, Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D., and he's all up in this leather gimp suit, right?
Which man is Spider?
Let me show you this.
Which man is Spider?
Tom,
okay.
Okay.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
Tom Holland's all up in a leather suit, and he's
I'm
like
seeing
this.
balls. Yeah.
Okay? So he's in his classic Spider-Man pose where his hands are gripping a ledge, and his legs are sprawled, but he's, like, ass on the floor almost. Ass to ankles.
the classic Spider-Man.
Classic Spider-Man. And maybe Nick Fury, maybe someone else from S.H.I.E.L.D. goes, hey, how's that suit treating you, kid? And he goes, it's really riding up on the web shooter.
Did he really say that?
I swear to God.
That sucks ass.
And guess what? I threw up.
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Because I would have done the same thing in your position.
Throwing up the first time I saw it, and then when we watched it this time, I was prepared for it. And I was like, okay, yeah, he's gonna sit. I threw up a little bit.
Ready to gag at any moment in this movie. However, they didn't didn't disappoint.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, they had a wonderful relationship between the three of them. When it's the end, this is the part that got ruined for me on YouTube, but even watched it in the theaters.
Nice.
Even watched it in the theaters. Chris and I talked about, after we saw it, the points that made us a little misty-eyed. The first part that got me that way, and I was like, I'm gonna cry, but I'm gonna hold it back because I'm hanging out with Chris, and I want him to think I'm cool. It's like right after the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man goes, I love you guys. And they're like, yeah, okay, let's get it. And they start running together, and they jump off, and they're all swinging. And
in unison, they go, let's get this bread.
They're like, let's get this bread. They basically do that, Chris.
They get the bread?
They jump off, and they all go, woohoo. Which is beautiful, because when Spider-Man's swinging and stuff like that, he's like, God, I love swinging. In the comic books, you hear all that narration, and it gets simplified down to woohoo in the movies. And it's perfect.
Statue of Liberty is poggers.
And they're like, this is poggers.
Let's talk about how...
Hold on, I'm not done.
Let's talk about how the Statue of Liberty is copper, and Electro zaps the Statue of Liberty to no effect on any of the Spider-Men. Let's talk about that one really quick. They're just standing on a copper woman, and she gets zapped with electricity multiple times, and nothing happens to any of them. I'm sorry.
Your IQ of 400.
Yeah. Anyways,
Let's talk about how they're on the copper Statue of Liberty.
Just
And
like
just like X-Men.
that's what I've been trying to say this whole goddamn time.
Because Chris, this isn't just a celebration of all the Spider-Man movies. This is a celebration of all the superhero movies all the way back to
Then
X-Men
how come,
1999, where
if that was the
Statue of
thing,
Liberty.
look at me in the eyes. If that was the thing, then how come there was never a point where someone threw like a match or a lit cigarette and then lit a gasoline outline of a spider as the camera panned out?
Just like
If that was the
Daredevil
thing.
and Batman.
I forgot Daredevil did that shit too.
How come Daredevil?
How come Kevin Smith doesn't show up in this
How
one?
come Kevin Smith and James
Just like
aren't in this movie?
Daredevil.
Just like Daredevil.
And
He shows up in Daredevil. That's
and
right.
and
Bill Burr.
and he shows up in
Kevin Smith.
Dawson's Creek. What is it?
Degrassi.
Sorry, Andy shows up in Degrassi.
And he shows up in Scream 3.
So, anyways,
okay,
table talk,
one sec. Why does the Statue of Liberty hold the shield in her outstretched hand when she already holds the book in a hand across her chest, which is a much more natural shield position?
you know what?
Why
You're
the
right. She
fuck does
should-
she do
yeah,
that?
she
There's
should
no
hold this
reason
and
except
that.
for to drop
Wow.
it, and I hate that. I hate.
Dude, hang on a second, Nick.
She's holding it outstretched.
Can we talk
in the-
about Elton's 400 IQ?
Oh,
No.
why did she do that?
No,
why
you
did they
guys-
ever do that?
Because, listen, you guys haven't spent any time in New York. This part's definitely getting cut.
I have spent time in New York, Nick.
I've been in the head of the Statue of Liberty.
I was on the Washington Bridge.
Okay, you guys didn't pay attention. This part's definitely getting cut. She's holding it up in the air to block planes.
That's definitely getting cut.
What was...
And it's the last time I fly 9/11 Airlines.
I feel like I should... What was the last... What were we just talking about?
A national tragedy.
Before that.
9/11.
Before that.
Oh no. Well, obviously something about Electro and
The copper.
How come...
Yeah.
I'm gonna bust Elton's 400 IQ here.
I'm gonna bust a nut.
I'm just gonna prove to you I have also 400 IQ. How come Tobey Maguire cures Sandman and he's just hanging out in the head and Electro comes and zaps the head and he's not dead inside of there?
Because he's not a Superman anymore.
Yeah. You mean Sandman, huh?
He's not a Sandman anymore.
He's not a Super Sandman anymore. He's just Sandman.
Anyway, to go back to what I was saying.
How about we go back to this?
Okay.
Okay, go back to what you're saying.
What do you want?
To go back to what you're saying.
Okay.
You better say to go back to what I was saying so I can cut this well later.
Back to what I was saying. All of the problems I have with this movie, like I said, are sewn up in the Back to the Future clause of 2021. But then also because these movies are just kind of a celebration of these Spider-Man movies, like I said, that have followed me through my life. Yeah, I'd probably give this like a 9 out of 10.
Good God.
No, that's
Think
a little
about
bit too
that
high.
for a moment. Think about that.
I have been thinking about it for 37 minutes now. I'm looking at the computer, and I also give it an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10.
That's equivalent to
agree
an
with
A.
Nick.
Look me in the eyes.
And you said an A earlier.
No, what
An
I'm saying
A out
to
of
you
10.
What I'm saying to you is think about this, Elton.
I wasn't talking.
My good God. My beautiful baby good God. Look me in the eyes, Elton. This man, when he sat down at this table, thought, Spider-Man No Way Home deserves a 7. And then me and you talked about it in such a beautiful way that he decided, no, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
No, I was kind of just talking objectively. You know.
And guess what? That's effing that mattress man.
Oh, I got so much more to say.
you
about this
don't!
Spider-Man.
Is that what? Is that
No,
the end of the podcast?
no.
That's not the end.
I have-
didn't finish up
I
my
have two
points.
things I need to talk about.
All right, both of
He's
you guys
got-
do whatever you're going to do.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, no, you have to participate in the rest of this podcast.
yeah, I'm not participating by listening. Tell me what you got. What you got?
It doesn't have to connect exactly here.
Well, I gotta finish mine.
No,
I was in the
that's
middle
fine.
of a
Continue.
sentence and he
This is
matches man
for
me.
this. Yeah, this is for Chris's editing prowess or whatever. Continue.
You know I'm not going to top that outro.
You can edit it in at the end. It was a celebration of the Spider-Man movies that I liked. And I give it a 9 out of 10.
It's things you've already said. Keep going. Keep going.
I'm so defeated now. I don't know where to go. I think the basic No Way Home-ism of it, the MCU of it all, isn't the best. It isn't the strongest, but I'm really happy that I got a just solid, just good Spider-Man movie from the MCU, which is what I've been asking for. I love so much of this movie. I love when Peter and the Hob. I love when Peter and the Green Goblin are fighting in the apartment, and basically, from what I remember, they're just vertical suplexing each other over and over again.
From the underwear elastic band, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
they keep on grabbing each other at the elastic band.
Absolutely.
And just flipping each other over the shoulders.
I think this movie's a mess, and I'd have it no other way. Yeah, I think it's a 9 out of 10.
What are the 2 points you... Oh, sorry.
And I feel bad about that in my soul, but as such a big Spider-Man nerd, subjectively, in my own opinion, 9 out of 10. Objectively, 7.5 out of 10, probably.
What are your 2 points you want to make?
Okay, objectively, and that's the only spot I have, 8.5 out of 10. I think that my only points sticking in my craw are that they didn't have more of a well-defined arc of villains. So on one end you have the Sandman, who only wants to see his daughter. He mentions that, and he says, I just want to see my daughter. And then on the other end you have, like, say, Electroshock, who... What's his name? I'm so sorry. I fucking
That's
forgot.
it. You got it.
Okay, Electroshock. Jamie Foxx, who wants to just destroy the cube, right? So Sandman...
Fuck Cube. I hate Cube.
Yes.
Me and all
Singular
my homies hate
focus.
Cube.
Yes.
If I would have found Cube, I would have killed it with a hammer.
Yes. Sandman just wants to see his daughter, and realistically that means touching the cube and pushing the button on Cube and going back home seeing
He should
his
have
daughter.
been, seeking out Cube.
Correct. I wish that they would have gone through the full gamut of having each stage of villain. So you have Sandman, who wants to see his daughter, Doc Ock, who is on Spider-Man's side, you have Jamie Foxx, who is totally against, and you could have had a full array of villains, and I feel like that would have fleshed out the villains as one whole unit much better, personally. And that would have propelled the movie a little bit farther. It might have changed the end a little bit. I don't think it would have. I don't think I would have ended the movie the same exact way. But overall, I want to give it an 8.5 out of 10, personally.
And before that's Mattress Man, I've got my plot holes and my few points left. Hey, remember when the Green Goblin shows up, or they start talking about the Green Goblin? And Dr. Octopus is like, oh, that's Norman Osborn. He turned himself into a madman because he's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't know that.
No.
Green Goblin died. Nobody knew he was Green Goblin.
Canonically.
There you go.
Canonically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jamie Foxx.
Mm-hmm.
Electroshock.
Electroshock. I had another point to make. Forgot it.
He's in that meme with Me and the Boys. You know the Me and the Boys meme?
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
That's
with the
gotta
guy,
be the
with
picture
the guy
for
with
this
the
episode.
Do you know what the guy with the picture?
Yep,
That's Jamie Foxx. I hope that y'all are aware of that, and they even show him in the movie with the fucking.
Can we talk about my
5-pointed
dad
star.
for a minute?
Talk about your dad for 2 minutes.
Are you not gonna talk about
Give me a second to remember what my dad said.
before he?
Oh, stop. Okay. Yeah, so on your topic about the villains, right, and how you feel like they're underbaked, I was just having a very good conversation with my dad where he was talking about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and I was agreeing with him. Those movies, pendulum swing in the opposite direction. They're so focused on the villains that who the fuck is Peter Parker? All those Sam Raimi movies, who the fuck is Peter Parker?
Yeah, absolutely.
You wasted my time. You should have called this movie. You should have called this movie Green Goblin. You should have called this movie Dr. Octopus.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Yes.
Elton.
Dude, I feel like Peter Parker was
Creepy.
picked almost from the bones in this movie because he was examined from 3 different lenses.
Yes, in this movie, but the other movies...
He good. I like him a lot.
Yeah, in this one he's good. I like him a lot. But in the other ones...
He good. I like him a lot.
No, in
Really?
Tobey Maguire, I mean.
Oh, yeah,
You're
he's
speaking
creepy.
of just Tobey Maguire? Okay, you're talking about
No, I'm talking about Tom
2002
Holland.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, we're talking about 2002
Okay,
Spider-Man.
then you also have to bring into context 2002, the entirety of movies.
Hey, I'll
and
tell you what.
media meant in 2002, and it's a whole different thing. Okay?
Yeah,
This
definitely.
is 20 years later, and 20 years.
Yeah, but Green Goblin doesn't stalk nobody is what we're getting at.
No, you're absolutely true. And why didn't they bring James Franco?
Because he got canceled.
Okay, and
Cut that out, definitely. I said he fucks kids.
You got anything else left to say, Yell?
no, I think that's the bulk of my 2 points.
Oh, I had some. Give me 10 seconds.
Give him 10 seconds.
Fuck, what were you saying right before you were talking about your dad? What were you saying?
I was saying that the movie was good.
You can count on as much as you want. Last point I want to make. Hey, you know what I don't want to see in any movie ever? A fucking meme.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
when Norman Osborn goes, I'm something of a scientist myself. Fuck off. Get it out of my movie. When all the Spider-Man go, and point at each other like the mean.
Wait, did they do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have
It was
missed that while I
pretty
was PA.
subtle, but they twice all pointed at each other. Get that out of my goddamn
Did
movie.
they really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I will disagree. Not hard. Very soft disagree just because I also didn't notice and barely was affected because I'm not like going to bat for it. I just felt like the scientist line, as far as I was concerned, was another callback. Then the pointing at each other, didn't even notice it. But you're right. You are also 100% right. All I wanted to interject for is just to say that straight up didn't even notice. Fair point, 100%. But I just wasn't that bothered. But the reason why I bring it up is because I think it's another example, in my opinion, of why me, as an audience member, wow, did they handle that well? Because guess what? I didn't even notice they were memeing on me. I got memed on.
What's
Great
your
point.
score?
I didn't even notice I got memed on.
Score?
11 out of 10. I got memed on.
The whole movie 11 out of 10 because you got memed on?
And I didn't even notice.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. No, it's still 9 out of 10.
Put it in the grave book.
To
Put
quote-
A++ out of 10.
To quote John Lennon, no, that's not true. They actually introduced
Let
an
it
S.
be.
An S to be. That's Paul McCartney. An S above A+. Anyways,
An S.
to quote John Lennon, nothing's going to change my world. Comma,
Shaka do Ray.
or my opinion of Spider-Man No Way Home.
Elton.
And you know what? That's that mattress, man. If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,